Hey there, time-travelling toy collector fans and Doctor Who fans in particular. Welcome back to the channel. I am the time-travelling toy collector, and this is another entry into the Hero Collector figurine collection for Doctor Who, in particular the Cybermen collection, because as you're probably aware, I'm only looking to collect, alongside the Parliament of the Daleks figures, the Cybermen and evolution of the Cybermen figurines from the Hero Collector range, because otherwise there's just too many. And as I've commented in other videos, for me, how the level of detail on individual humanoid figurines is quite limited, so I'm much happier with a monster-esque figure. That said, today's offering is kind of human-ish, and it's a fascinating figure with some really unexpected levels of fascinating detail. So boring bits first. I say boring bits. They're boring in comparison to the figure this time around, but they're probably not that boring in real terms. So as ever, it comes packaged in a little pod like this, which you can use to keep things nice and safe and dust free, which is important if you're a collector. And it's also clearly labelled up. It was entry number 116 into the figurine collection, and it's one of the patients from World Enough and Time, which is a 12th Doctor story, and there's the 12th Doctor looking all cheerful and brooding from the series. So I'll pop that there just for a bit of framing. And then we have the main thing. It's the main event itself, really. I'm just going to sort of turn this round on this turntable manually so you can really see the level of detail and the level of attention to detail, which is, from my perspective, frankly astonishing. Particularly in light of some of the comments I've made, which I still stand by in the past, about their approach to doing humanoid figures. They've tended to lack detail. One of the reasons this one sort of gets through my my radar for this one is because, well, as you can see, it doesn't have a face. It doesn't have a facial sculpt. So I'm going to pick it up now and bring it a bit closer, because I want to show you this feature. So this, a bit of context, this is a pre-Cyberman. Okay, so this is sort of standard humanoid who is undergoing the process of initial cyber assimilation. I don't know what you call it, cybernizing. Conversion. Should have gone with conversion to start with. So you can see the lovely detail on the shoes. There's a little bit of glue and paint bleed where they meet the stand. Again, you can see the hemming, the level of detail on this resin gown. The hand is quite nicely done. The detail here is really impressive, where you can see the stitching and the pulls and the tears on the patient's gown, and we have the face covered up in a sack, really, with a top knot, which again is very reminiscent of what you will see in the early Mondasian Cybermen. And again, the story in question, World Enough and Time, saw Cybermen, or Mondasians, escaping into space on a colony ship that was, because it was so large, it was breaching time itself. So there were various generations on this colony ship, and some of those generations were this point in the Cybermen's evolution, which was kind of pre-Cyberman. So a fascinating figure to produce, and a fascinating little bit of cyber history as well. I love the way the piping, the oxygen piping, works its way around the top of the head there, that you can see. And there's also some suggestion at the top of the gown of where the cyber connectors are going to start to go. You can sort of see that there. Some of this will be replaced with, in time, silver outlays around the mouth and the eyes, for example. The hands will remain bare, as that was the case in the original Cybermen. Now, what I love particularly about this figure is this accessory that's built into it, because rather than just give us the figurine, they've also given us this little medical bay, which is how the pain medication was managed. And you can see this translucent and free hanging connector, which connects into the arm of the patient. There's this lovely little device here that's monitoring the health and well-being of the cyber patient. But one of the features that I think is really, really excellent in this figure, and I'm so excited by it, is this canister here, which you can't see much into. You can't see it, there's no idea what's in it, but it's detachable. It's on a little metal hanger, and it is a detachable segment. I mean, it doesn't detach from the figure, but you detach it from the figurine, from the whatever you would call it, what we would just call as the stand for the drip, really, and you just reattach it. You can attach it on that one or on that one, and this hangs quite loosely. It's taped in the box when you remove it, and quite rightly so. And I will probably repeat that when I put it away. But I just think it's such a lovely detail to include. And if you look there, you can actually see it's on wheels. You can see those sort of old school casters. You can also see a bit of the glue that connects it to the base, but those old school casters. And I just think that's a really lovely touch. So I wanted to commend them very much for that. I'm just going to support it whilst I wiggle it over so you can see the signage on the base, which is the reference number and patient from World Enough and Time, one of the many patients that appeared there. I'm going to pop it back on the stand and make another observation. The figure is leaning quite substantially. That's not a fault in the thing. The patient is in pain and is leaning, and their stand is leaning very much with them there, as you can see. My observation on this is, and it just sort of keys into some other points that I've made historically around Eagle Moss and Hero Collector figurines, which is they're very fragile. These are not toys, these are not action figures, these are extremely fragile, for presentation only types of collectibles. So I'm just zooming in a bit there so that I can pan up and down it a bit more for you to have a good look at it. This would not withstand, and I know this is kind of like my usual waiver with some of their models, but this would not withstand an awful lot of robust play, let's say. It's not really for children to manhandle. You're going to lose that section straight away, as if you did allow that. And that's not a judgment on your individual children. That's just I'm judging it entirely on myself at the age where I'd want to be playing with this. And as much as I'd love to think I'd keep everything nice and safe and pristine, yeah, I just wouldn't trust myself enough as a kid. So by extension, I'm mindful that other children may, with their exuberance, have a bit of some rough action with the figurine. But that said, behind glass or kept in the pods, which are really handy for exactly that. They are something that are really, really beautiful to look at, particularly the Cybermen and also the Dalek Parliament figurines as well. I'm really, really pleased that I took up the Hero Collector discounted rates on these figures. Some I'm still waiting to come back into stock. Others have not materialised yet. Others have, and I've managed to purchase some. So I'm going to be working through these and adding them to my evolution of the Cybermen playlist. Does this figure belong in your collection? Well, if you collect Doctor Who figurines, chances are it's already in your collection. If you're like me, someone who's a little bit more cautious in terms of purchasing these figurines because of the level of detail and level of quality, hopefully this up close and personal video will have given you the opportunity to see what you would be getting from these figures, and this figure in particular, and hopefully as such you've been able to make an informed choice and an informed decision. If that's the case, hopefully you'll smash that like button and send me a positive message as a result. Similarly, whilst you're there, you may as well hit the subscribe button so you never miss a future video, whether it's about Doctor Who or Star Wars or Star Trek or Transformers or Marvel or whatever it might be. It would be great to have you along for the ride, and of course your comments would be really, really valuable moving forwards. Is it 100% screen accurate? Probably not, because I think these were all individualised. The patients may be sort of homogenous in their appearance, but they're all going to be quite have their own little unique flourishes. So I think in keeping with that, it's probably got its own unique flourishes. But again, at this scale, at this price point, and with this pre-existing level of detail, I'm quite content with what we're getting here. I think this is actually pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I think you would be too. Just keep it safe, keep it looked after, and don't let too many people access it, or it could be disastrous. Well, what can I say? Thank you very much for spending the last 10 or 11 minutes with me. You have been a fantastic audience. I've been the time-travelling toy collector, and this has been the patient pre-cyber conversion from World Enough in Time, the 12th Doctor adventure, with the Doctor as played by Peter Capaldi, who's grimacing at you at the back of the staging area. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope to see you in a future video. If you're interested in looking at the other Cybermen playlist, by all means do. It's the Evolution of the Cybermen. There's also the Parliament of the Daleks playlist, which is another Hero Collector Doctor Who playlist that I have, and also the Time Lord Victorious figurine collection, which is an offshoot of the Doctor Who figurine collection, but focusing solely on the Time Lord Victorious figures. There's a playlist for those as well. Thank you very much. It's been fantastic having you along. I hope to see you in a future video. In the meantime, keep safe. I've been the time travelling toy collector, and please remember that a thing of beauty is a toy forever. Take care. Bye bye for now.